All right, so today we're going to be looking at nets specifically. So today we're going to be able to draw a net for a solid figure. And the solid figure are going to be three-dimensional. Okay, we're going to be looking at figures. Oh, I'm frozen up there, sorry. We are going to be looking at three-dimensional figures today. Okay, and specifically we're looking at nets. So a net, just so you are aware of the vocabulary, is a diagram of the surfaces of the three-dimensional figure that can be folded to form the three-dimensional figures. So for example, if I look at a cube, if you are familiar with a cube has 6 sides. But the properties of a cube is basically all of the sides are squares. And so if you count the sides of a cube, like on a dice, for example, how many sides does the dice have? 6, right? So a cube has 6 sides. So I have the bottom piece, I have the top piece, I have the front here, and then I have the back, and then I have the left and the right. So if I were to unfold this figure, I would get a figure that looks like this. I have the back, the bottom, the front, and the top, and then the 2 sides, the left and the right on each side. Okay, so if I were to fold this back up, it would give me my cube. And so we're going to learn how to draw nets that look similar to this one. So for our first example, it says, notice here we have draw the net for the rectangular prism. And if you notice, it tells me here it's a rectangular prism. That tells me that the base is a rectangle. Okay, my base is a rectangle. So if I have a solid over here, you guys can see visually what it looks like. My solid, the base, well, this is not exactly a rectangular. This is a square prism because the bases are squares. But you can kind of just visualize this to be a rectangle instead of a square. I have the 2 bases are rectangles, and then I have the 4 sides are all rectangles. So if I were to unfold it, it would give me 4 rectangles for the sides, and then the top and the bottom would be the 2 smaller rectangles. Okay, so we're going to draw something similar to this one. We're going to draw the sides as rectangles and the 2 bases as smaller rectangles. Okay, so you're going to grab your ruler, and you are going to draw. I think it's easier if you just draw one long rectangular side here. And then you can just cut it into smaller sides. Okay, so those are going to be my rectangular sides. I'm going to cut those into 4 pieces. Okay, so I'm going to cut them into, notice though, this is a rectangular base. So I need to have 2 of the sides longer than the other 2. Notice these 2 sides are longer. This side is congruent to this side, and then this side is congruent to this side. So I actually have 2 longer rectangles than the other ones. So I'm going to draw kind of a wider rectangle here. And then my next one is going to be smaller or thinner. I don't even know what the word would be. Thinner? Does that sound right? I don't know. Wider, so narrower. The other one would be narrower. So I'm going to make it a little narrower than the other one. And then I'm going to need a wider one again. And then the last one should be kind of narrow. And then I'm using a ruler. It's kind of hard to see. But this side is congruent to the third one. And then the second one is congruent to the last one, right? So if I look at the sides, my wider one would be this one. This is my wider one, so this is going to be my front side. So if this is the front, Then the one that's similar to it would be the back side. And then I have the one on the left and the one on the right are the narrower ones. Narrower. I have a really hard time saying that. Narrower. So this would be like the left and the right side are the skinnier rectangles. And then looking at my two bases, I have the smaller rectangles. So my bases, notice right here, the top is a rectangle. So I'm going to put it next to like the longer side. I'm going to draw my rectangle here. It has the longer sides and then so then I'm going to draw two of those, and those have to be similar. So this one, and then I'm going to draw the other one at the very bottom. I'm going to draw it similar to that one. I have my rectangle that looks like this. And then that's going to be the top and the bottom side. And essentially those are congruent, right? This is my top side, and this is the bottom. Yeah. And obviously I'm not really drawing it to scale because I'm not like measuring anything. I just know that the top and the bottom are rectangles. So then by properties of rectangles, then I know that this side is longer. So I should have a longer rectangle for the front and the back. And then my two sides are going to be smaller. So then I know that I have a smaller rectangular side for the left and the right side. And you guys need to label like the top, bottom, left, right, front, and back. Okay, so that's a rectangular prism. And it's called a prism because it has two bases. Just for vocabulary so you know, a prism means it has two bases. If you ever see the word prism, prism means two bases. Versus a pyramid. So now let's look at a pyramid. What does a pyramid look like? And our next example, notice it says it's a rectangular pyramid. So I know that the rectangular part is my base. And then notice it says pyramid. So pyramid means I only have one base. So if you look at the bottom here, I'm going to shade it in. You can see the bottom is actually a rectangle because it's a rectangular pyramid. Okay, so I know I'm going to have my base is a rectangle. So I'm going to draw a rectangle for my base. So grab your ruler and then draw a rectangle. Okay, and then what do you guys notice about the sides? What shape are the sides? Triangles, right? Notice I have my front side right here is a triangle, but it's going to have a longer side than the left and the right ones are, right? So I'm going to draw my triangle this way. That's going to be like the front side. And then I also need the back side. So then the back side is going to go right here. And you should draw it pretty similar to the top one, because that's going to be the front and the back side. So this is the bottom. And then this is going to be like the back and the front. And then I need the left and the right side. So notice that the left and the right side are also going to be triangles. Here you can see also triangles, but they're going to be skinnier than the other ones. Okay, so I'm going to draw my other triangles, but they should be skinnier than the other sides. And those two are going to be the left and the right sides. Okay, and then don't forget to label all the sides, the front, the back, the bottom, the left, and the right. And notice I don't have a top side this time because I only have one base. All right, so the next one, I want you guys to practice. See if you guys can visualize what the picture is going to look like. But let's talk about like the name of it. This is draw the net for the triangular pyramid. So notice it says it's triangular. That means that the base is a triangle. So you can see here the triangle at the bottom. But if you look at the picture, are all three sides congruent? Are any of the sides congruent? For the bottom triangle? Is my base triangle, the sides congruent? No, they're not congruent. So you're going to have to try to draw the base that kind of looks like that. So my base would look something like this. So that's the bottom. This is my bottom side. And see if you guys can draw the sides. Notice the, oops, I'm drawing on there. Notice let me get my pointer. Notice that this side right here is like the left, sorry, the right, the left, and then the back side. And all of the three sides are triangles, but they're all different sides. So you would draw the bases, sorry, the sides like this, somewhere along those lines. So you guys go ahead and try that one. All right, this is what your picture should have looked like. You have the bottom is a scaling triangle. None of the sides are congruent. So then none of those three should be congruent. You have the back side, you have the left side, and the right side. If you call them differently, like if you said front, back, and left, that's fine also. As long as you have labels on the picture, it's fine. All right, so go ahead and try with this one now. Notice my picture. It says it's a triangular prism. Quiet, please. Triangular prism. So what does that mean? The bases are the what? The triangles. The triangles are the base, okay? So this front side and then the back side, those are your bases, okay? And then you have the rectangles on the sides. Those are actually the sides, right? We have the front, or you can call it the bottom. We have the left and the right side, I guess. So notice again, you have the two bases for your triangles. So I would start with the bases. You know that the bases are the two looks kind of like a right triangle, but there's no symbol to show you that it's right. But it would look similar to this is what the base is going to look like. And then on the other side, it's actually going to be open downwards, I guess. It's going to go this way. And like this. And then you could draw the sides in the middle. Draw the sides somewhere right, oops. Shh. Draw the sides in between the two triangles right here. So you're going to have the longer rectangle connecting the two bases. And then you're going to have, well, actually, that's not even going to be the longer one because the hypotenuse, remember, is the longest side of a triangle. So this one should actually be your wider rectangle. Then you have a different sized one here, and then you have a different sized rectangle on this side. But it should be smaller because it's going along with this edge here. So your rectangles, your 3 rectangles should be 3 different sizes because you have a triangle with 3 different sizes. Yeah. Yeah, 3 different rectangles here. All right, go ahead and look at the solution here. You should have 3 different sized rectangles because you have a triangle that has no equal sides. So your 3 rectangles should be different sizes. We have the bottom side. It's kind of the middle-sized one, and then the right, or you can call it the top side, is actually going to be the longer rectangle because it goes along with the hypotenuse. And then you have the left side, which is going to be the thinner, narrower rectangle. And then your 2 bases are like the front and the back of the prism. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at our circular bases. Our circular bases are either going to be a cone or a cylinder. So what's the difference between a cone and a cylinder? Do you guys know the difference? Shape-wise, what do you notice? Cone has one base, and a cylinder has 2 circles, right? So a cone only has 1 circular base, and a cylinder has 2 circular bases. That's mainly the difference, right? And so if I were to open up my cone, what do you think the sides are going to form? The sides right here? The cone piece, what do you think it's going to create? A triangle? Just a strip. A strip. But notice that cones don't have any rough edges. All of this is supposed to be smooth, no edges, right? This one kind of has edges just so that I can fold it. But a cone has no like rough edges. It has 1 circular base. And then if I open this is going to be creating a circle, right? So if I open it, notice it's actually a curve like this. And then this is not like half a circle. This is actually called a sector, okay? The side actually creates a sector. So then we're going to draw something like this. We're going to draw the circular base, and then the sector at the top is going to be the sides. So let's go ahead and draw it. Our base is going to be a circle. So let me get my circle tool here. I'm going to draw my circular base. So my bottom piece right here is a circle. That's my bottom piece. And then my sides is going to create a sector. So the sector, what it looks like, essentially, is going to be, it'll kind of look like a semicircle, but not really. It's kind of like a triangle, but instead of having a straight edge at the bottom, it's actually going to be curved, okay? So the bottom of my sector is actually going to be a curve. It's going to look similar, kind of like this, I guess. It kind of looks like a triangle, but the bottom of the triangle is going to be a curve instead of a straight line, okay? So this is actually the side of the cone. It creates a sector. And a sector is basically a part of the circle. All right, so now let's look at a cylinder. So a cylinder, you guys told me, oh, I forgot to make notes here. A cone has one circular base. One circular base. Okay. And then if we look at our next one is called a cylinder. So we just talked about this. A cylinder has what? Two circular bases, right? Two circular bases. And what do you think the sides are going to unfold to be? If I unfold my cylinder, what do you think the side is going to create? If I unfold it, any ideas? Rectangle? A rectangle. Good. If I unfold it, it creates like one long rectangle, and then I have my two bases are circles, right? Huh? The division. Oh yeah, it does look like a division sign. Good. So we're going to do a rectangle and then two circles for the bases. So that's what we're going to draw for our cylinder. Okay. So for my cylinder, I'm going to draw basically the two circular bases. So here's one base, and then I'm going to draw the other one kind of congruent to that one are my circular bases. And then the middle, I know it's going to be like a long rectangle here. Probably not that long, but it's okay. But that does kind of look like the division sign. I've never thought about it that way. Okay, so then my bases right here, this is the top, this is the bottom. And then the long rectangle, this is just the side of the cylinder. All right, and that is actually our last example for today. So the rest of the period, you guys are working on the assignment. It's on the next page, and it's already posted on Classroom, so you guys can turn it in when you finish.